What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Jedi Jive. My name is Mike. Joining us again is my sister, Jenny.
Hey, guys.
We're going to do a reaction to Loki Season 2, Episode 5. Last week's episode was crazy.
I lost my mind.
Yeah, that was a quite the ending, quite the cliffhanger.
But also, like, gruesome details along the way.
Yeah, I mean, like, there was definitely, like, that gruesome cube death scene
and
with
then the
Docs
spaghettification of Victor Timely.
The spaghettification of Victor Timely. Interesting that spaghettification is such a familiar word that we can just use it in a sentence and have it, like, know what that means.
Yeah.
But somebody also pointed out that they saw that the Loki Instagram deleted all of its photos so that it's like resetting.
Meta!
And that's definitely what this seems like because there was a small trailer for the last two episodes.
The mid-season trailer, yeah.
And you can kind of get a vibe
fun.
from that, you know, we're going to see Mobius on the timeline. But probably everything has been reset. But we know that Loki has some sort of objective viewpoint on all of this, and that he's still the Loki that we know that's been...
Yeah.
You know, we know that he was time slipping in these first few episodes and that there was that situation and he pruned himself and...
We saw some additional time slipping happening in the mid-season trailer.
Yeah.
So we expect to see a little bit more of that for some reason.
So we got such an, like, with that cliffhanger and such an open-ended concept of, like, what, like, anything's possible.
Yeah.
Like, the timeline's been everything and everything exists all at once.
Yeah, our big sort of takeaway at the end last week was that we were a bit confused, not because anything was overtly confusing, but because so much was just left open-ended.
Yeah.
So we were sort of waiting to see what happened in a lot of different scenarios, and all we can do is watch it and see what happens.
Yeah, guys, let's jump into this episode. Let's have some fun. We'll discuss it afterwards. Let's do it.
I'm literally holding my breath.
It's already eerie.
Look at that single tear about to fall. Tom Hiddleston just doing some acting over here.
Is he alone? Okay, yes, he's alone.
Wow.
He's alone in the TVA.
Where'd they all go?
But how is... Oh. Oh, wait, he time slipped. It's because the loom is still there. Uh-huh.
No. This is not happening again!
What a shot.
Oh. He's not alone. Oh, wait, is that himself? He's himself.
Hello?
Yep. Oh. We can start seeing multiple Lokis. Overlapping Lokis.
This is the version of himself that he just saw. There's the other version of himself.
Mm-hmm. What?
Trippy.
Oh.
What? We saw a brief image of this in the mid-season trailer, but this is dramatic.
Oh, he slipped again. Holy shit.
Wow.
Wow.
Little Shawshank action going on over here.
Wait, was that Casey?
It's so dark, and with our studio lights, I cannot see a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
That's
Casey.
Casey.
It's Casey.
1962, branched timeline.
Why is this guy calling you Casey? He's been calling you Frank the whole time.
Frank?
It is true. You said your name was Frank.
It is. His name's Casey.
I don't know this guy. I don't know you.
Huh.
Your own way off this rock. Sorry, pal.
And there he goes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We're at Sylvie's McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're at a power sports shop. And now we're at the TVA. This is where his whole TVA journey kind of began, was looking at the movie in this same theater.
got a good cast on here for you. It's gonna
Oh.
help you heal nicely, but you're gonna have to wear it for 6 weeks, okay? That's not gonna stop you, is it? I tried. All right, be good.
It's not something you see every day.
Yeah.
Yo.
Let's
Yes! Is he in like a promotional video? Is that what he's doing? Yeah.
Don, your son's calling on line 3.
Tell him I'll call him back.
It's not even a promotional video, he's just playing. He looks like the
wacky waving inflatable tube arm man.
Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man.
The TVA is gone.
I think you mean ATV. You're in luck. We got in 2 of them last week. They're upstairs.
You don't remember me either.
No, I do. You were in just the other day, right? Sorry, single dad. Give me a second.
Did you hear he just said he's a single dad though? That's a big piece of backstory.
Yep.
Pasadena, 1994.
Don't think I've ever seen this one before. It's really good.
Ah.
He's one of the greats. I read
Ouroboros.
everything he does. Are you buying your own book?
I told you to stop putting your sci-fi books on our shelves.
Oh.
Oh.
Wow, that's actually his workshop.
So cool.
It's the same set.
Loki's gonna have to talk to him. He's gonna be the only person that's gonna be able to make sense of what's going on. Time slipping.
Probably because he's written about it in his sci-fi books.
What I'm about to tell you is going to be hard to believe.
Of course I believe you. One of my characters has come to life and needs my help.
You are a writer.
Yes, science fiction.
I'm doomed.
I had to get a PhD to keep my day job teaching theoretical physics at Caltech.
It's great.
Yeah, until I can quit and write full time.
I need to go back to before the temporal loom melted down.
You can't. You need to learn how to control your time slipping. Because you're not just slipping in time, you're also moving around in space. It's like you're a better version of one of those temp pads.
So Loki can do temp pad without a temp pad.
He is a god.
I'm trying.
It's like Tony Stark waiting for the suit to show up.
Maybe you need to try harder. We get the band back together. Every one of your friends has a temple aura. That means a group of people would have a collective aura. If we can get everyone together in one place, we can read that aura. But without any of the knowledge of how it works, I would have to invent it all from scratch. It could take a whole lifetime.
What if you had that knowledge?
Oh.
There's one on every desk at the TVA.
So I am gonna write a bestseller.
Let's get to work.
Oh, that's a problem.
He handed him the handbook though. That's
Yep,
key.
he did his
That's
job.
so key.
Now where are we? In the suburbs?
How did he get burnt? Who gave you the matches?
I stole them.
Don't run, Kevin. Kevin, get... Sean, go get him. Come on.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, you were at the shop earlier.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't stick around back there. I was in a bit of a time crunch.
Yeah. I got something I want to show you. Come here. Ordinarily, I wouldn't dream of parting with one of these beauties, but
Well.
wife is long gone, and I can't ride 2 of them.
A beautiful union of form and function.
Oh, that's lovely.
I'm going to tell you something that's hard to understand, Mobius.
Mobius?
Mobius, that's your name.
I think you have me mixed up with someone else.
No, you see, the thing is, I don't. Mobius is your real name. It's all right, I'm a friend.
I know you are.
He's being so creepy. He already built
a time
I
door.
don't know if I say 18 months is fast.
Is this like a prototype tempad? This giant thing he's got?
So what now?
What's happening?
I promise you this will make sense.
Okay, okay.
It's a little unstable.
Getting the team back together.
You saw something in me that I hadn't seen in myself.
Are you really my friend?
Get this man some pie, quick.
Who's he? Is he my friend?
He will be.
What about my boys?
They'll be fine. Look, you can come back anytime.
Oh, you were at the shop earlier, right?
Okay.
Oh, wow.
That's an effective way of showing him.
What were you calling me?
Mobius.
It's a pretty cool name.
Let's go. Okay, B-15.
She's seen some wacky stuff today.
This is so cool.
This is going to sound strange.
Okay, so they're getting everybody. Casey.
Casey escaped from Alcatraz.
They've also got to get Sylvie. It's almost like they're starting the TVA from scratch.
Yeah.
With these players.
Mm-hmm.
Mobius is my space name.
This space
Are
snake.
you part of this whole...
Is this everyone?
Almost everyone.
There's one more.
You gonna get her at McDonald's in Oklahoma? Yeah. Okay.
So who does she think she is?
No, this should still be Sylvie. Oh wait, I don't know.
This is going to sound strange. I know you don't know who
Loki,
I am.
of course I know who you are.
Okay, okay.
You do?
Why wouldn't I?
Because nobody else did. I'm sorry. This isn't how I thought this scene was going to play out.
Again, meta.
Okay. Get in the car. I'm buying you a drink.
15s. OB. Casey was a prisoner.
Zaniac!
It's the game version of the movie that Brad was in.
I guess this all worked out just the way you wanted it to, and you're fine just walking away. So selfish.
Of course I'm selfish. I want a life. I want to live. What is it that you really want? Come on.
I want to save everything. All of it.
Is it really that hard? Come on, keep trying. Why?
I want the TVA back.
And?
What do you want? I want my friends back.
Wow.
He liked it.
I don't want to be alone.
See? We're both selfish.
But without them, where do I belong?
We're all writing our own stories now. Go write yours.
Oh.
Hey, listen, if we're all gonna have to wait, I'm gonna borrow this thing for a bit.
No, you're not.
Don't bother. You should all go home.
It's kind of heartbreaking.
Something will change your mind.
This will either cure what's ailing you or make it a whole lot worse.
What record did he give her? I want to see.
Yeah.
Couldn't see the cover. Is it Loaded by the Velvet Underground?
Yes, it is.
I'd recognize that cover anywhere. This is one of my top 5 albums of all time. Ever. What?
Spaghettification. The timelines are shredding. Oh. Oh, what an effect. Oh, shit.
Well, there's her nice, comfortable life gone.
Were the key to saving
Oh, is
all
she
of
gonna show up
existence,
here?
and now
You're all just fine without him.
No, they aren't.
Here she comes.
Everything's falling apart.
We can go back. We can stop the loom from melting down. We're all here. The pens. We have all the pens.
We need to read the collective temporal aura of everyone in this room on the temp pad.
Oh, Casey took it.
No, he's standing right here.
Oh.
Listen, you can rob every bank you like when this is done. We need that temp pad now.
Great, but I still didn't take it.
Oh, shit's already falling up. No, they can't do it.
His timeline must have just evaporated.
What do we do?
Oh, he's about to shred now.
Oh, man. Oh,
This
that
is just like a whole
hurts.
nother version of getting dusted.
No, I have to go back to see my boys.
Oh, man.
Oh,
He's about to disappear.
Oh, man. This is brutal.
Man, that's terrifying.
I have to go back to see my boys.
Dude.
Do you think that what makes a Loki is the fact that we're destined to lose?
Okay.
There's nowhere left to go.
Oh, he controls it. Like, he was able to control it finally.
Control the time slipping.
I did it.
Did what?
Nice.
I controlled it. I can rewrite the story.
They are making him
Yeah.
like the god of stories. Yes! He's gonna go out and do it himself.
Oh, man, that's the end.
Wow, okay.
Wow, that is one mind-expanding, trippy episode
Conceptually
right there.
heavy right there.
Yes, there's a lot to wrap your head around.
I'll
in
admit
this
I'm
episode.
not extremely well versed in the comic run of how Loki played into all of that, but I do know, like, obviously there's Stan Lee.
Right.
But then there's I don't know if it's the god of stories or the gods of story, but basically, like, Loki does have the power to, like, tell the story.
Yeah.
Or to, like, rewrite the story.
Well, it's clear that's what's happening at the very end there. He's becoming the god of the
and
story.
he's like, I can rewrite the story. So
Yeah.
it's like Loki really is in control of how everything ends up here.
Yeah. And he learned to control the time slipping so he could make it happen.
Which is funny, too, because I wonder if that ultimately makes Loki, like the main character that can face Kang because of his ability to time slip and to rewrite the story. And,
Yeah. It's interesting how it's only sort of our Loki who can do that, not Sylvie, who is also a variant of the same
Yeah, and I love that
character.
when he said that I could rewrite the story, and then they showed up in that moment right before the loom explodes. That makes me, the first thing that comes to my mind is, wow, he saw Victor Timely get spaghettified. That looked really painful, but now
Yeah.
Loki's probably going to have to elect to be like, no, I have to go, because maybe his godly god of the stories time slipping ability or whatever is what's going to allow him to not get spaghettified in that moment and save the
There's
loom.
some way he's going to be able to control that moment in a way that Victor Timely was not able to control that moment.
Yeah. And with that said, like, we also know, though, that, like, Kang is coming. I know there's this Jonathan Majors situation, and Marvel might be kind of, like, freaking out
They
about
might be
what to
stepping back from him at this
we never
moment,
really,
yeah.
but this has already been made. We don't really,
Right.
but like you're kind of assuming it isn't gonna go well for them because we do need to have Kang proliferate.
Right.
and
I mean,
get
that's sort of
introduced.
been foreseen throughout the series.
Yeah, but man, the biggest emotional moment in this episode is Loki saying he wanted his friends back.
Oh my God. That hit hard.
Hit
He went
really
she
hard.
really was digging. She was digging at him. She was trying to get something out of him. And, you know, he was like, I want this back. I want the other thing back. And then ended up with I want my friends back.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, it's like a gut punch.
And this is season 2, and Loki was in the movies beforehand, and we've seen him already go through an evolution.
Yeah.
And we saw him go through like an additional evolution in season 1.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that in this season that Loki's really been like solid in his new like this. He hasn't like regressed into like evil Loki or like, you know, she pointed out that he was selfish, but he was selfish about like, you know, his love for the people that he cares about.
Yeah.
Which is like a good
He's
kind of
really
selfish.
adopted his new identity. The way that, you know, the way that he was mentioning Mobius saying, I like it here. I like the life I have, you know, in the TVA. Mobius didn't want to go back and find out where he was on the timeline. He just wanted to keep his job. And Loki has really adopted that same attitude. He likes his job.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So we got to see sort of everybody's places on the timeline.
Yeah, I like how quickly they kind of
already
like
seen. In quick succession, we learned about like 4 different characters.
Yeah, I pointed out that Mobius's place on the timeline was 2022. These are all branch timelines, but I was like, oh, that would be a post snap.
Right.
So
and then
Mobius
what becomes
would
of
then have
that
knowledge
in
of
the in
that,
the
right?
larger
Or-
sort of Marvel verse? What becomes of like Thanos and the snap and all of that on the timeline? If these timelines are now like disintegrating and disappearing, what becomes of everything that we know from sort of previous iterations of the Marvel universe? Is everything safe? You know, we don't really know. It makes me think of, there was this big incident in the Arrowverse, which I sort of loosely follow, where they had a big sort of crossover episode between multiple shows, and then everything reset so that shows that had existed in different universes were now in the same universe. But it was a result of this like big event that they had when everything reset. I'm like, is this a big reset for the Marvel universe? What's the implication for other properties that we know and love already? I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know the answer to that yet.
Yeah, and I love the like we have like people variants, but then like he goes and Ouroboros's the version of him on the timeline. This room, his workshop, is the exact
it's the same set.
exact same set. And it gives it that, like, is this like a variant room? Or is it just like, is this going to become the TVA?
Or
is
did
this,
he
like...
set it up that way at the TVA because he had sort of remnant
exactly.
memory
But like,
what
I
his
loved how they
original
like
research lab looked like.
The idea of them giving the TVA handbook to young Victor Timely, and then Victor Timely's work influencing Ouroboros, and Ouroboros like they had that time
that
loop.
little loop
But now
going
here they
on.
just gave Ouroboros his own book,
Right.
and he gets to learn from himself. So it's another like, and it was like that when he was talking to Mobius, when like Ouroboros just walked through a time door and had like already made himself a
prototype
temp pad, but he was like, oh, it took me 18 months. He just like came back and it was, I loved that. And then
That was
also the
great.
additional like showing Mobius like the 5 minutes ago him talking to Loki, and he showed him himself.
Yeah.
And that brought up, you know, images of like we were mentioning, anytime it's kind of hard not to reference Back to the Future because everything kind of goes back to that referentially. But you think of Marty McFly seeing the other Marty,
The other version of himself at the mall.
So I love that. It makes it a little bit easier to understand, and it's obviously thematically or narratively here, he's making it easier for Mobius to understand by showing him like, no,
But
you're fine.
again, really trippy.
Yeah.
Every time that happened.
And speaking of trippy, the visuals in this episode were another like everything spaghettifying. Like, looked
you
really cool.
mentioned that emotionally that had the same impact as watching everyone get dusted at the end of Endgame.
Exact same thing where it
You
was
know?
just like, oh shit, like everyone realizing that they're disappearing, and it was showing them and the horror on B-15's face when she realized she was about to disappear, and Mobius when he was like, I gotta get back to my boys, and then he just, but here like the spaghetti strands themselves, like Loki even like interacted with them at one point and was like pulling on them, and like it looked like it was really good special effects.
Yeah, it was very, very good special effects.
Yeah.
It was terrifying to look at, horrifying to look at, but also just really beautifully done.
Yeah.
And like visually compelling. And trippy, like watching a, fractal on your screen or something in a way.
Yeah. When Loki went to Oklahoma to go talk to Sylvia, and then she was like, I know who you are. Of course I do. And he was like, wait, that's not how I thought this scene was going to play out. That was one of those.
It's a little bit like Disney winking at itself.
A little meta.
And at us.
A little bit of a fourth wall break. Not really a fourth wall break, but that whole like,
It's a little
he's the
meta.
audience. We're
it's
him.
a little bit meta. Yeah.
But it does tie into that idea of him being the god of the stories now or whatever, where it's like he's us. He's the narrator. He can tell the story how he wants to
But
tell
he's
it
also taking the
effectively.
place in a way of He Who Remains.
Mhm.
You remember when they first confronted He Who Remains
He
in
wanted
his
him to
citadel,
be in charge.
He wanted Loki and Sylvie to take over and
Yeah.
be in charge. And in a way, that's what Loki is now doing. He's
Yeah.
taking over the story.
Like I said, it really seems like they're starting the TVA from scratch with these elements here. It felt like that, like with the room and the individual players, where it was
Right.
like none of them originally knew how they had gotten there.
You get the sense with Loki that part of the motivation, at least, he and Sylvie both said to each other, "You're selfish." And at least part of the motivation here is he wants his friends back. He wants his life at the TVA back. But you get the sense with Loki that he also does care on a fundamental level about all of these timelines that are dissipating.
Yeah.
And that he actually does kind of want to save everybody.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, where it was like he's evolved multiple times into this version of himself, and he seems really solid in like his goodness as a character now.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like he was, when she was trying to get the answer out of him, like it for a second it felt like she was goading him into like admitting that he's being selfish, but like it was still, like I said, it still seemed like it was selfish for good reasons. And that like he really does seem like a good guy now. He's not evil Loki. He does care about people. He does want to do good.
Yeah, I think so.
And he doesn't want harm to come to anybody,
Yeah.
particularly the people that he cares about.
Yeah.
Which is a far cry from the original Loki, who would have
He's
stabbed
come a
his family in the
long way.
back
Right,
for
literally.
his own advancement.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, visually awesome, conceptually awesome, and this definitely felt like a perfect
Tee up for the finale.
tee up. Exactly. Like it feels like, wow, like this, because when we came into this at the beginning, we're like, wow, that last episode really just like served us up a big, like, what the hell are we gonna, like, what happens
now?
And here it's like, okay, well, they just presented us with this scenario, and they're gonna hopefully do something crazy in the finale. Like I said, to me, it seemed when they showed up back there at the loom moment that it's like, well, he saw Timely get spaghettified. If Loki is willing to go out there and do it himself this time, that could change how that moment, because it's like, okay, great, you got back to that moment. What's different about that moment now?
Yeah, what changes?
You'd have to do it differently in
All
order
that
for it to
changed
have a different
was
outcome.
him.
Yeah.
Is what he just said about it's not who or what or where or why. It's not or what or where or why, it's who.
Yeah.
Right?
And when he said, when in the end there, when he learned to control the time slipping, did he himself just slip back into that moment, and now none of them are going to know that that's a future Loki that's already seen this moment
Right.
go down?
Right.
He didn't just bring those pens in the cup with him. He just went back to that moment that he was already at.
yes.
So Loki is in a very unique position now, where he's like the only one that's aware of what's going on.
But he's come into his own powers. He really is very, very sort of self-aware about what he's able to do now.
Yeah, and then furthermore, at the end of the day, like I've said now twice, the whole Kang situation is bound to be a big factor in this last episode.
It's got to be something.
Victor
Yes,
Timely
something's
got
gotta happen.
spaghettified, but did he just get turned into a million different Kangs?
Right. After investing in that character, putting him in Quantumania, developing that property, they're not just going to be like, Victor Timely, that's all you get, right? Something's got to go down, right?
Yeah, and it would be great if we actually, like, basically what they do is end up introducing, like, Kang the Conqueror, like the main
the actual
Kang.
like canon.
Yeah. He's in
Kang the
purple and
Conqueror.
blue and looks like a
Right.
spaceman from the 3000
Right,
or whatever year he's
exactly.
from. Yeah. Guys, this episode is just another episode in a long string of great episodes.
did not disappoint.
This season has been very consistent with just like it's maintained to like just, I don't think we've had a dip and like
No, it's been high octane the entire time.
It's been a very consistent on all fronts too. Music, visuals, acting, concept, all of it. It's really good. Loving it. Guys, we want to know what you thought about this episode, what you think is going to happen in the finale. Are you excited? Let us know in the comments below. Do us a big favor. Like and subscribe to this video. We could really use your guys' help with that. And if you want to see the reactions fully unedited, you can watch them in watch-along style with us over at patreon.com/JediJive. That's where we put them up. We'll see you in next week's reaction, guys. Peace.